we watched Bones and All. Bones and All is a 2022 movie. A young woman embarks on a 1,000-mile odyssey through America where she meets a disenfranchised drifter, but all roads lead back to her terrifying past and to a final stand that will determine whether love can survive their otherness. It is based on a novel called Bones and All, and therein, I think, lies most of the problem. The movie is directed by Luca Guadagino. The adaptation is written by David Kajganich, and stars Timothée Chalamet, Taylor Russell, Mark Rylance. It is kind of funny to me that the tagline here about the movie doesn't say anything about cannibalism, because above and beyond everything else, the movie is about cannibals. It is a compulsory cannibal, and it doesn't seem like you can choose not to be an eater, as they call themselves in the film. It's kind of interesting. I will say, though, I feel like I watched a movie about dumb people, because I would get away with this for many, many moons. It does kind of seem to me that eventually you just go nuts, but I do feel like we've only seen the stupid cannibals because I watched the movie and they just don't seem that smart. I don't know what it is or why, but it does seem like that's definitely the case. The movie is 130 minutes, and it really does have a nice slice of Americana. I want to say Atticus Ross and Trent Reznor must have done the soundtrack, and it's got a real nice charm. It's got that Midwest flavor most of the time. Everybody here seems very interesting, and there's just a little depth to every little bit that you run across. But in trying to understand a couple of the choices throughout the movie, I did go read about the book, and that's where all of the problems come, because as much as the movie is a tragic, little devastating bit, it's without substance or, like, motivation, because they've stripped out all of the interesting bits from the book. And I don't want to, like, get too high up on that horse that the book is always better, because I'm sure that's true. It is a baffling choice to strip all of the meaning out of, like, the encounters they have in the book and go completely different to this way they go in the movie. Because in the book, Sully isn't just some dude. He's her grandfather. It's not just some random encounter. He's definitely been waiting to meet his granddaughter and has, like, a whole thing. Where in the book, it's portrayed... I don't know how it's portrayed in the book, but in the movie, he comes off real creepy. It's just real creepy. I don't know if it's intentional, but he comes off as kind of a creep. So when Marin blows him off, it makes sense. But there's no real reason to think that it's anything else. And even in the book, she's described as being kind of intrigued by, like, being around other eaters. A lot of this book is centered around using cannibalism as a metaphor for making connection with other people. I don't know. I can see where that has been polarizing. A lot of the reviews are super, like, it's either a 4 or a 1. There's a couple 2s in there, but the book stands at 3.54, so it's pretty decent as a book goes. Though, like I said, I'm guessing the subject matter is pretty polarizing. Though, I will admit, even in the movie, not once do we see one of them using, like, a utensil. For whatever reason, they always seem to be just eating with their mouth and hands, and while I'm sure that's satisfying in a way, I feel really strongly that at least once, you gotta try it, right? Like, at least one time, you gotta try using a fork and knife or something, or I don't know, something. One of those little cake slicers. Overall, I don't know. I like this movie. It's presented in a fancy way. It's charming. It really is charming. But I can't help but feel like we stripped all of the good bits out of the writing by changing things around so much. I really like the summary I read about the book, so I don't understand stripping out those bits. Just the Sully parts seem like a real bizarre choice. And then the climax obviously is wildly different too, because by the end of the book, it seems like she's fully embraced her identity as an eater, and she's definitely on the hunt, as you would say. So I don't know. I had a good time. It's not a great time. This for me is like a 5. I don't understand what Guadagino is. I don't know what his deal is, because I'm sure eventually I'll find a movie of his that this. But so far it's not been that. It wasn't Challengers. It wasn't this. It wasn't After the Hunt. Yeah, this is a 5. I had fun. I liked it. I didn't love it, and weirdly, like many choices, wildly changing the adaptation from the book too much, stripped out what I think would be the satisfying moments for me. Though, I don't know. I'm not sure how much you could just explain, hey, I'm your grandpa. All right, you kids, be good. If you like this content, I'm supposed to ask you to like, comment, and subscribe. I think like is here, and comment is probably down there, and subscribe over there somewhere too, I think. I don't know how many times this like snippet is gonna make it into a video. Everybody says you should do it this way, and I always thought it was just like an annoying thing other YouTubers did. And as you know, I am bad at editing, so if you like it, great, I'm happy for you. If you don't like it, I'm sorry.